Hello. Happy Sunday. The angle's weird today, but that's okay. Oh, it's because I moved the computer. That is why. All right. So I kind of pieced out for a couple of days because I got an endoscopy. I think that's what it's called. And it's been a weirdly rough recovery. Um, a fair bit painful, and still I am tender and sore inside. And I found out real interesting, irritating things. I have what is called eosinophilic esophagitis. I think it's what it's called. Haven't learned much about it yet because I've just been taking it easy and I didn't want to stress. But I thought I would come and read the next chapter because I know a few people have really wanted me to. And I don't know, it brings me joy and it calms me down. And I've had a few kind of anxious days. I am still sore. They did, I think, 5 biopsies on the way down. So one on my esophagus. I don't know, a whole bunch of different words all the way down to my end of my stomach. Um, so we'll see how I do. I can't talk as loud, uh, but I have a microphone, so hopefully you can hear me. And I hope that I can bring some joy to all of you today with this chapter. And this is the chapter um, where I go to the other side. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, here we go. Thanks, Debbie. We'll see how I do. When I am like tired or stressed, I have a harder time with stroke deficits. And one of the deficits I have is aphasia and dysphagia. But yeah, so here we go. We're going to try. So this is chapter 2, and the title is Beyond and Back. And the poem at the beginning is called Home. I blinked, and that was all it took. The weight of being human gone in an instant. No more pain, no more suffering. It all made sense. The continual question that creeps into every corner of our lives: why? There is no more why. In an instant, I was able to embrace my past, present, and future. It rolled away from me like waves. Every thought, concern, lesson perfectly planned. I opened my eyes, taking in the familiar energy that radiated from the smallest blade of grass to the highest soul. I was home. That's a fun one. Hi, everybody. I know if I did this on Facebook, more people I think would watch. Not everybody knows I even have a YouTube. But then it gets lost in the endless playlists on Facebook. All right, so we had gotten to the point where I had the stroke. They had given me medication to stop the stroke, and it didn't work. So they were airlifting me to a bigger hospital for brain surgery. And so I ended the last chapter getting into the helicopter. If you want to hear the introduction in chapter 1, there's 2 other things like this on my YouTube. All right, here we go. This is going to be a hard one to read. Maybe I don't want to. The sun shines through the window as the helicopter lifts into the air. It's been about 7 hours since my stroke, and I can feel my brain swelling inside my head. The pressure is unbearable. Everything inside me is heating up, and it feels like my body is on fire. They must have given me a lot of drugs, I think to myself. But it isn't the drugs affecting me at all. My body is shutting down. Up to this point, I was terrified of dying and was really scared by this whole experience. But something happens when you're close to death. That fear kind of morphs into something else. It just feels different, peaceful almost. Let me put this a little bit closer. Mike sits next to me. He pulls out his phone and explains that Wyatt texted him because he was afraid he didn't say enough when he was in the hospital room with me. As sunlight fills the helicopter, Mike reads this message. I love you so much. I can't even say how much I love you, and I will always love you no matter what. I have been rude to you these last few months, and I am so, so sorry. I would do anything to make me in the situation you are in and you to be back to normal. I will always be your baby boy and will do everything I can to make you feel happy. After all of this, we will go on a super long walk to Cottle Lake or maybe the foothills. I will walk until my feet fall off to make you happy. Love you more than I can comprehend. Wyatt. That was a very sad thing to read or have read to me. I look up at Mike, then look away and close my eyes. The light coming through the windows is so bright. Mike lifts his arm to try to block the sun out. And at that moment, snap, I'm gone. 1 minute, I am in my body and fully aware of everything going on. And the next, I am completely detached from myself and everything else. I didn't have to go to the light. I didn't choose to leave. Nothing pulled me there. It just happened in an instant. Whether I'm alive or dead, I'm not sure. But in my soul, I know this is what people call the other side. When I open my eyes, I find myself in the most beautiful garden I've ever seen in my entire life. There aren't words to describe how breathtaking everything is. I'm in a lush meadow with vibrant green grass and delicate flowers blowing gently back and forth in the soft breeze. The colors here make earth seem like a beige wasteland. Each stone, tree, and flower contains its what its own unique energy, emanating with healing iridescent golden light. I feel the life of the ground I step on, and I can connect with it. What seems at first glance like separate things are not separate at all. Everything and everyone is working together harmoniously in sync. Just like each blade of grass is connected and inspired by the next, each soul is joined in mutual support, held together by unconditional love. The innate oneness here is beyond description. Everything I see beats with the same heart. The same energy flows through every fiber. Even the air is alive. Hey, hi, everybody. Okay, so this is the beginning of some of the paintings I have done. This one, if you get the book on Kindle, you can actually see all of these in color, because in the book, it is not in color because it cost me twice as much to print it in color for the like 40 or 30 pictures in the book. So it was just too expensive. So it says, I've always loved the color blue, yet you can't see any color, but it is blue in real life. Oh, you know what? My guides say, hang on. Yeah, let's see. Hang on. I'll take a little break and give my voice a little break. Is it not here? No, maybe not. Cannot find it. I thought I had the paintings right here, but they're mixed in somewhere, so maybe I can't show it. Bummer. Okay, maybe another time. A white wooden gazebo is next to me, with a sparkling blue creek running underneath it from a pond on the other side of the field. I sit on a bench beside the gazebo and let the sunshine wash over me. It feels like coming home to the best place I've ever lived. I've never been more at peace. I look down and notice I'm wearing a white off-the-shoulder eyelet dress, and my body is that of my 25-year-old self. My physical appearance looks the same, but the best version of myself. No wrinkles, no gray hair. All marks of time gone, every scar healed. The pain and discomfort in my physical body are no longer part of me. Somehow, I just know all the answers to any questions I've ever had about what has happened or will happen. I understand what my life would have looked like if I had chosen to take another path. I can see the ripple effects and outcomes of any scenario. Anything I've ever wanted to know is clear in my mind. There is no confusion. There is no panic, no fear. There is only clarity, peace, calm, and the most all consuming, all encompassing feeling of love. Everything I've ever struggled with, every doubt and faith, becomes crystal clear. I see the past and everything that has ever happened in my life, all of my experiences. Everything that hurt me, everything that had brought me joy, it all made sense. And suddenly I realized there was no reason to ask why certain things happen. It was all just learning. I was learning, they were learning. We were all learning together. On the outskirts of the garden, I see people looking lovingly towards me. I quickly realize that they are my husband, Mike, my kids, my mother in law, my dog, and a few other people I know, both still dead, alive, and dead. I'm aware my husband and kids did not cross over with me, and that what I am seeing are their higher selves or souls. We look at each other from afar, but don't approach one another, and we don't speak. I know deep inside that I'm not here to interact with them. Instead, they are here, so I know I will be with them regardless of the decision I am about to make. Talking to them is not why I'm here in this place at this moment. I look across the meadow and catch a glimpse of a different group of people standing near the back of the garden. Who the heck are all these people, I wonder? Each is from various times in history, some from the 1600s, 1700s, and 1800s, and some from the future. Others have origins in different dimensions, and they are all different genders. I stare at them, trying to figure out why they're here, who they are, and then it dawns on me. Each of these beings is one of my other lives. I can see a piece of my soul in each one of them, and I am grateful they are here. You see, in this place, time and space don't exist. Everything and everyone lives simultaneously. I find myself simply gazing at them when unexpectedly a sudden presence appears. My spirit guides have materialized, sitting beside me on the gazebo bench, one on each side. Your physical body is clinging to life, but barely, they explain. You came here so you don't have to endure the pain and trauma. Now you need to decide whether you want to stay here or go back to the life you are living. I can hear everything they're saying, but they don't verbally say a word. All of our communication is telepathic. On the other side, you don't need to speak. You don't have to use language to communicate what you're feeling or what you want. The souls around you just know. They can feel it. And that's part of the beauty of being here. On earth, everything is so hidden. We don't show our true selves to each other. On the other side, there are no secrets. There is no need for them. When you're in the afterlife, there is no judgment. There is no criticism. There is only love. If you go back, you need to understand what is going to happen, my guides explain. The first 18 months are going to be the hardest and worst 18 months of your life. It's going to be extremely difficult to endure. It will challenge you in every way. You have not had an easy life, but this will be much more challenging than anything you have experienced. You are going to learn a lifetime's worth of patience in a very short period of time. You are going to wish you would have stayed here, but there are things your soul is still capable of. You will go from a life of learning to one of teaching, and the transition will almost break you. You are meant to write books, be a public speaker, and help the collective consciousness of the world move forward. You need to know the path to that life will be wrought with pain. I can hardly believe what I'm hearing. Writing books and public speaking, I've run away from being well known, from becoming well known my entire life. Up until till this point, I've been focused on raising my kids. I'm not super outgoing. I don't like strangers knowing my personal business, especially since I tried to hide who I was for so long. I've shared some on social media, but nothing major. I've always turned down every invitation to go on TV and really limited the number of podcasts or radio interviews I do. Now my guides are telling me that turning to my life would mean I'd have to do all of those things. I'd have to let the world in. Sorry, this is the issues with my stomach right now. Okay. Not only would I be doing more social media appearances if I returned to my human body, but I'd be responsible for helping people figure out their life purpose and contributing to the collective enlightenment at a pivotal time in human history. It was a lot to take in. If you decide to go back to your human body, it is going to be equally hard and easy for you. My guides explain. It will be a struggle because you are going to be human with human feelings and pain, but it will be more rewarding than anything you have ever experienced in this human life. I look at them and nod. But you know, my guides continue, if you choose to stay here, you will be okay too. You will just fully cross over and stay on the other side. My guides take time to show me what this option would look like. They show me the fullness of the other side and how serene it would feel. They explain that I'd still be with my family and my kids in spirit, even if their physical bodies remain on earth. They show me what my kids would do and what my husband would do if I died and how they would cope. I can see the trajectory of the rest of their lives and how it would change after they lost me. As a human, things like this can be really hard to look at, but when you're on the other side, it doesn't feel that way. When you're a soul, you have a complete understanding of everyone and everything and never experience any stress or anxiety. As a soul, you don't experience any negative emotions at all. Having this perspective helps me wrap my head around it. It helps me understand that if I chose to stay on the other side, my family would have to endure without me, learn to live without me, and heal after experiencing severe trauma. I would never want my family to suffer. I love them so much. But at this moment, the one thing I know for sure is that they would be okay no matter what I decide. If this is the end of this life for you, everything will be all right, my guides say. The decision to stay or go is yours. There is no judgment, no punishment. There is no wrong choice. As they communicate with me, my guides don't give me their opinion. They never tell me what to do. I don't experience any pressure. It is an experience that makes me feel loved and supported. Together, we weigh the risks and benefits of each option in a very objective, matter of fact way, and they leave me alone to reflect on what I want to do. Hi, everybody. This is when I take some time to experience everything around me. I squish my feet into the lush grass and revel in the energy which emanates from it. Barefoot, I make my way to the stream, wading into its gentle flow. It's like nothing I have ever felt before. The water shines with the light of God, each molecule carrying the presence of the other side. Time becomes a distant notion as I get lost in this moment and ponder the choice I must make. As I do this, I am able to reflect on my life up until this point, and I feel nothing but love and gratitude for my human self. Existing, even for this short amount of time on the other side, allows me to access the collective consciousness and all of the knowledge we possess here or there. I do not under I do not have to ask what would happen. I just know. I am acutely aware of what the world struggles with, and the potential impact of my existence is palpable. If I choose not to come back, it will be many years before someone like me will be born again. The circumstances of my life will be very difficult to recreate. I feel a longing deep in my soul to return to my physical body. There is no longer a question of staying or going. I have to go back. My decision is made. And I have to say, oh yeah, Jody, you're right. Please hit the like if you haven't already. Please. So even though it was only a few paragraphs, standing in the water and standing on the grass, I could still feel the grass. Like I can close my eyes and feel the ability to feel everything around me. And it felt like I had 50 years to make that decision. Like I wasn't rushed. It wasn't like, I don't know, there was no pressure. I just was able to be and be peaceful and not feel pressure to, like, it wasn't like, okay, your body's dying, you need to make the decision, like you have X amount of time, and if you don't decide now, something's going to happen. Like it wasn't anything like, sorry, that's going to drive me nuts because I'm brain injured. It was like, I don't know, your best moment times a million. Just saying. Suddenly, my guides reappear, and I'm no longer alone in my thoughts. They tell me that since I have made up my mind, it's time for me to leave. What do you mean? I have to go right away? I ask. I want to stay here and play in the grass and the water. But they explain that staying any longer isn't an option. And within seconds, I am removed from the garden and find myself in a waiting room filled with bright white light. I see my body and my loved ones below, almost as if I'm looking at a movie screen. I see them plead and bargain with God, begging for me to live. I see my husband panicking in the helicopter, still trying to block the sun from my eyes. Please, I'll do anything, Mike says. Just don't let her die. Unlike when I was in the garden, there is nothing to distract me here. All I can do is observe what is going on around my physical body. I don't feel panicked or concerned about what is happening. Thankfully, I still have access to the peace, love, and serenity of the other side. So I just calmly watch as things unfold. The helicopter lands in Victoria, the hospital staff ready and waiting for my arrival. The vibe is much different there. The staff seems calm and collected, completely prepared for what is to come. They wheel my body off the helicopter and back to the ICU, where the whole team waits to treat me. From above still, I watch as they move me down the hospital hallway, where they transfer me to a bed. Mike is still with me, and he looks so worried. Within minutes, my entire body goes rigid and starts seizing. The nurse frantically starts yelling for help, causing Mike to panic and run out into the hallway calling for a doctor. Help, somebody help, they both scream now, desperate for someone to come. With a seizure, there's not much you can do but protect the person from hurting themselves while you wait for it to stop. And that's exactly what the doctors do. I watch from the other side as my body shakes and seizes. They're monitoring my stats and trying to keep me safe. This goes on for about a minute until my body stops moving and goes completely comatose. My spirit guides explain that if I had chosen to stay with them in the afterlife, this is what would have caused my death. The seizure would make my brain to continue to swell to the point of no return, ultimately leaving me brain dead. However, I made the decision to come back, and that choice changed everything. It's at this very moment that the other side fades away, and just as quickly as I had traveled there, I am back in my body unconscious. That's the end of chapter 2. Even reading it, because I haven't really read it since I wrote it. Well, that's not true. I've on and off, I've read parts, but even reading it now, like it was written a year after the stroke, right? Yeah, we started writing it a year after the stroke, and I still had a long way to recover, and I can see my brain injured self writing it. Like, I feel like I don't know, there's so much I would add now, now that I have more language, and so much I would, like, sort of embellish on or go into a little bit more. Like, that waiting room that I talked about, it was literally just light, and a lot of people talk about that place, when they have, like, surgery and stuff, and all of a sudden, they're not in their body anymore, they're watching their body. It was the same waiting room, and I would, I think, go into even though I didn't go up to my loved ones, I did, um, talk about it, or I talked to them, um, like, telepathically. So, my grandma confirmed that there is only one heaven because we had this disagreement when she was alive that if I didn't convert to her religion, which was at the time she was Mormon. They don't call themselves that anymore. I might not go to the same place, and so she prayed for my soul, um, and so to see her there was amazing. Also, I had a couple of friends that I went to elementary and high school with that died, and they were briefly there. And I think the only reason they were there is because when I first accepted my gifts, they helped me quite a bit because I was so confused about everything. So yeah, there's so much I would add or talk about more, um, not as brain injured, if that makes sense. But that's chapter 2, and I am grateful for all of you for tuning in, and I hope this can bring my story to more people, um, because not everybody can afford to buy a book, and that's just the reality for a lot of people. So hopefully, I will read through my book in the next few weeks, and you'll all be able to listen. Um, yeah. So thank you for listening. And my guides are here in full force. So if you're feeling anxious or you're struggling at all, just ask them to come sit with you and they will. Take care. Bye.